Hi, everybody. I'm Kimberly Kennedy, and I wanted to introduce you to my guest, Pastor Austin Miles, also known as Chaplain Austin Miles. And Pastor Miles wanted to share an incredible story, a miracle that he was actually involved with the Lord. And I also wanted to just let you know about Pastor Miles. He was my teacher in the Healing and Deliverance class, and he has a lot of stories of miracles.
Oh, yes.
So this will just be one interview, but I'd love to have him more in the future to share all of the other miracles with you. So, Pastor Miles, tell my audience about the miracle about the woman that wanted to kill herself.
You know what? As a chaplain, you're never fully prepared for everything that you're going to meet up with in a day. You can have so much training in it, and you run into something that is completely off the charts. I was known in New York. I was a chaplain in New York, and the policemen all knew me, and I was on a television program. The Joe Franklin Show was the first talk show in America that started. So he's been around for 100 years. He's retired now, of course. But I was on that show quite often. It was a celebrity program, and the reason for that is because I was the chaplain to the world of show business. So I dealt with people in the theater and movies and circuses and musicians and actors of all kinds. So with that, it also made me visible because I was an official chaplain, volunteer police chaplain in New York, but a chaplain in general wherever I was needed. In fact, many times I'd go from point A to B and I'd never get there because somebody needed me, especially during the holiday season. So I was on my way to New Jersey. I had an appointment in New Jersey, and I was going over the George Washington Bridge, or at least heading toward it, and suddenly the traffic was just boom, boom, just stacking up ahead of me and stopping. I said, oh, blarney, what happened? So I slowed down, stopped, and my wheel was just about on the bridge when I was a police standstill. So then a policeman walked by, saw me, recognized me, and said, come on, Chaplain, we need you. So I went with him, and it didn't take long to realize what it was. It was a woman up at the top that was about to jump from the top of the George Washington Bridge down into the river. And so he said, we've tried everything. And I said, well, let's try the Lord this time. Maybe we should have done that first. But anyway, I walked down beneath the bridge, and I looked up at her before I could say anything. She said, now don't you start. So we're off to a good start. And now, suddenly, the Lord must have prompted me on that. And I said, no, I'm not going to start anything. It's just that I wanted to just mention something I noticed. She kind of looked quizzed. I said, that's a beautiful dress you're wearing. This is the filthiest river in the whole United States. That dress is going to be a mess. And that did it. She pulled back, held on, they went up, got her down. Everything I learned in psychology school, psychology class, everything I learned in chaplaincy school all went right out the window.
Yeah.
You know, because then you say, well, is this internal, has this been a childhood thing, trying to analyze it all, but something so simple came out, and that suicide was prevented, thank God for that.
Wasn't that neat? And that was, I remember he had mentioned this in our healing and deliverance class, and what was really funny was how, Pastor Miles has these great degrees in theology and all these things, and you were thinking, well, what could I say that's gonna, that the Lord's, something, from the Bible, or what were you thinking in your mind?
Well, I was thinking of a good professional approach to it. But every situation is so different. Every time I think that I've seen it all. One time I was coming in on a train at Grand Central Station, and I'd had quite a day. I started off with a morning service at a little church in Poughkeepsie, New York, and then from there I went to Sing Sing Prison
Oh my goodness.
to speak to the prisoners. And by the way, a few days before I came there, the word got out, and the Muslims are going to have a riot if I were to speak there.
Oh my goodness.
So I was called about it. And see, I didn't know as much about them then as I do today.
Yeah.
And so I said,
Not that all of them would do this,
No,
but I
but-
guess they knew that your beliefs.
my beliefs conflicted with theirs.
Yes.
And they were going to try to start a riot. Well, I said, I'm coming. Because I really had the zeal of Jesus in my heart, and I just wanted to share that. So I went in, and each of these doors open up electronically. You go through it, it shuts behind you, through another, go in, boom, boom, it's behind you. Pretty soon you know you're confined when
Oh
you're there.
yeah, how scary.
Got in there, the place was kind of packed where I was going to speak. I talked about love.
Oh.
Love of Jesus. You know what was over? Everybody, including the Muslims, came and gave me a hug, and the warden said I never would expect to see anything like this.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So
there's
that
always miracles are following you around.
Well, Sonny, if you walk with God, you never have a boring day.
That's right.
So I did the night service then at that little church in Poughkeepsie, got on the train, went back, rumbled on into Grand Central Station. It's now about the wee hours by the time I got there because I visit with the people after the church service at night. So I'm coming through Grand Central Station, and just when I'm about to get on the sidewalk, A cop says, "Come on, Chaplain, we need you." Turn me right around, walk me back. I said, "What happened?" "On a train, girl tried to kill herself. We need you there." And I said, "What'd she do?" "Overdose." And anyway, it turned out that she had taken enough pills. They gave me the name of the pills. I can't recite it right now. But they said she took more than enough to kill a horse.
Wow.
And so anyway, we got in and got her to her feet. And I walked her through the station and outside. And when I got out, I said, come on, let's just take a little walk. It was kind of brisky outside. I said, "Come on, say I am special." "No, I'm not special." "Well, yes, you are special. The only one of you in the whole world."
That's right.
I disappointed my father. You disappointed your father. I'm sure he's very proud of you. I'd be very proud to have you as my daughter. In the meantime, I'm walking her back and forth so she is getting stuff flowing, the blood flowing.
Yeah.
The ambulance comes screeching up, put her in the back of the ambulance, and I went in with her. I rode in the ambulance with her. And this thing is screaming down these narrow streets of New York, making the quick turns, heading to the hospital. I forgot what hospital we took her to. I'll think of it in a minute, maybe, because I was doing things at all the hospitals. So as we're going along, suddenly her body stiffened up.
Oh my goodness.
I said, "Oh Lord, please don't let this child die. This is a life. We have to have this life. Please, Lord, give her life back again so we can get her settled with some happiness." Well, she did come out of it, and we got to the place. They took her in the back room. In the meantime, I got in touch with her parents. I found out who her parents were. They lived over in Connecticut, which would be another train ride in. And we were there for quite a while at the hospital when they finally came in. Her father was a very prominent minister in Connecticut. And the girl, it was very obvious when you see her, she was slightly, well, a bit developmentally disabled. And so what was happening, she could play the organ to the best of her ability, but her father was demanding more and more of her. And she felt the pressure that she just didn't match up.
Couldn't live up to it.
Couldn't live up to it, and didn't have it knowing she got a disability too. And so anyway, when they came in, just about the time they came in, they came out of the room where they were going back to pump her stomach and everything. There's this most amazing thing. I said, "What's that?" They said, we didn't have to pump her stomach. Something happened. Now, she had all this stuff, and we found the bottles. We knew exactly what she had taken. And so she got through without having to go through that ordeal, and they came in, the father and everything. We had a good talk together. And then they got back in the car and headed back home to Connecticut. Everything was safe. Thank God, I was on that particular train.
What a miracle.
Yeah, it was. Another thing, it makes you think, let's don't try to push our kids above their capacity.
Yeah, that's right.
And another thing, too, as parents and as chaplains, as teachers, I teach at the Christian school also, and plus theology school, but the kids, I also deal with kids. And one thing, if the kids, and I told the teachers there the other day, I said, if we don't show them acceptance, total acceptance, and are glad to have them with us.
And let them know that there's a seed of greatness in every one of them.
That's a good saying. I wish I'd have thought of that.
I got that from my class.
But still, if we would just do that, then kids are not going to go out and try to find it somewhere else.
That's
right. Why some kids go to gangs, because the gangs reflect their culture. And they can talk the same language, even though it's a negative type thing of acceptance. And that's why we have to be that way with kids as well. That's what,
Pastor Miles, can you share with everyone your website to read your fantastic stories that are filled with humor?
Yeah, the Miles Tones, everybody likes it. I got some pretty dramatic ones on right now because you won't believe what just broke just before I came here.
Should we leave it for another time?
No, I'll just give the website now. It's Rev, like Reverend, R-E-V, Rev Austin Miles.
M-I-L-E-S.
Yes, and A-U-S-T-I-N. Rev Austin Miles, one word, .com. That's all you need. Then when you go on, you'll get onto the website, and you'll see lots of stories, because I cover everything on that. But also, look for the Miles Tones section.
Yeah, that's my favorite section.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun with that.
How much time do we have left, Alexa?
Well, it's been 9 minutes.
Okay, so we just have about 40 seconds left.
Okay.
So I wanted to just say that we're going to have, I know that Pastor Miles has so many wonderful stories to share with you, and I know you're going to want to see him again. So we'll have you on again. And do you want to tell anyone Merry Christmas and why?
Sure.
Give 30 seconds.
All right. Merry Christmas to all of you, because this is the reason for the season is Jesus Christ, of course. And just remember this, for Christians, we have actually 2 Christmases. The first Christmas was when Jesus was born on earth. The second one when he was born in our hearts. Good night. Merry Christmas to all.
Goodbye.